Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Brian Calandra here, senior partner at Ramos Law. And let me tell you, one of the things I love, TV shows, movies about legal stuff, going all the way back to when I was a kid watching LA Law. That was one of my favorite shows, played a role in me becoming an attorney. And today we're going to be looking at courtroom TV show clips. So we're going to start with Judge Judy. Don't you just love Judge Judy? Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but she can definitely be entertaining. Let's see what she's up to today.
Ms. Mack, it is your claim that the Herrera's dog bit your 8-year-old son.
Yes, ma'am.
On what date did this happen?
February 19th this year.
How long have the two of you been neighbors?
I've lived there almost 2 years. This July will be 2 years.
And you?
We've lived there for almost 7 years.
And you have 2 dogs?
I have 4 dogs.
4 dogs.
All right, so this is the kind of case we're dealing with today. It's a dog bite case, 8-year-old kid, neighbor's got 4 dogs. Dog bite cases, they can be tricky, but one of the most important things in a dog bite case is there any way to collect the case? Meaning, is there insurance on the homeowner or do they have the funds to pay? Sometimes that can be a big question. Let's see what happens in this case.
What kind of dogs do you have?
I have a mutt, and then I have a chow weenie and 2 chihuahuas.
A what?
A mutt. She's a mixture of all sorts of. And then a chow weenie. It's a chihuahua and a wiener dog.
Oh my goodness. That's some combo. I don't think I've ever seen that. And 2 chihuahuas. So you have small dogs?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any animals?
No, ma'am.
This is your son?
Yes, ma'am.
Does he want a dog?
He does.
How many times has he asked you for a dog?
More than I can count.
Right. So he likes them. He likes to play with them.
Yes.
And I assume he plays with the Herrera's dogs.
With their dogs, I don't believe so. Their dogs are rarely out on a leash. I've never really seen them.
Okay. Are you immediate next door neighbors?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a fence between the 2 properties? No. On the 19th, what time did this happen?
It was approximately 5 p.m.
And you didn't witness it?
Correct.
Who did?
Skylar did.
Our son, Skylar.
You were outside. And you were there. You got bit,
Yes.
right?
ma'am.
You want to come up here and tell me about it? Tell me your first name.
Malik.
Malik, do you remember the incident with the Herrera's dogs? You don't?
No, no.
So that's not good. First question of the kid is, do you know what happened here? He's saying no. So in a case like this, the plaintiff, which is actually this little kid, has the burden of proof. You have to prove what happened. So his first answer right out of the gate's not even remembering what happened. Not good for the case. Let's see what happens from here.
With the little chihuahua?
No.
Don't remember.
No.
Okay, good. You can go and sit down. Want to come sit up here? Tell me your first name.
Skylar.
You were out with the dogs?
Yes.
How many of the dogs did you have out?
2.
Which 2?
The mutt and the chow weenie.
That the chihuahua? No,
Yes.
don't look at them. Look at me. Do you understand? I'm not frightening, am I? A little bit? A little bit?
No.
No, good. All right. All you have to do is tell me the truth, and then we don't have a problem.
Okay.
Got it? 13. You know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what happens when you lie to your parents?
Yes.
Right. You know how you don't want to lie to your parents? You don't want to lie to me worse.
See a little bit of a softer side of Judge Judy here dealing with the kids. I like her approach so far. She's trying to make the kids comfortable, try to make sure they're okay, understand they just have to tell the truth. And so interesting to see what this kid says, because if he doesn't remember seeing anything and the other kid doesn't remember seeing anything, it's going to be really hard to prove a dog bite case.
Where were you walking the dogs?
Behind my house.
In your yard.
Yes.
Would you tell me what happened?
My mutt was twisting around my arm, and so the chow weenie's leash came off and slipped and ran after him and nipped at him.
So one important thing when we're talking about dogs is the dog owner, in this case, is including the kid, has that responsibility to keep the dog under control and, of course, kind of prevent the dog from biting other people. Once that dog slips off of a leash, the dog owner then has kind of reached that duty to keep that animal under control. And here it sounds like the dog went and nipped this kid. So let's see what happened.
Ran after whom?
Malik.
And where was Malik when the Chiweenie nipped at him?
Between our houses in the middle.
Okay, so it was not necessarily in your yard.
Yes.
It could have been in Malik's yard.
Yes.
Good. Okay, now you can sit down. Okay. That was easy, because that was a little bit different from what I have here. You have a video? Who has a
Yes,
video?
ma'am.
What do you want to show me?
On the video, it shows Malik running from their dogs, and there was actually 3 of them chasing him, not 2. The bite actually happened right off camera, and then it shows him run into the frame of the camera and onto our trash cans by our porch. It's my home surveillance.
I'd like to see it, but according to the Herrera's son, they're responsible for the dog bite.
Video footage is some of the best evidence we see as lawyers, whether it's, from a homeowner or even in a car accident from a dash cam, because it's really hard to dispute what you see on video. Let's see what this one shows.
Got it.
Didn't see a ton there on the video, but certainly that kid's trying to get away from those darn dogs. And so let's see how Judge Judy handles that. We don't right now have any evidence of an actual bite other than the one kid saying there was a nip. I'd like to see if there's some pictures of a bite on the kid to show that proof.
All right, Mr. and Mrs. Herrera, when I first read your answer, which is totally different from what your son tells me and totally different from this video, I was sympathetic with you. You said that their little boy went into your yard and was teasing your dogs, and as a result of that, got bitten.
Yes,
But that's not what happened.
that is what happened.
No, that's not what he said. That's not what your son said. Your son said that the larger dog twisted his leash around his arm, and the other leash slid off, so the dog was free, and chased Malik, and he was in his yard.
But Malik was in our yard teasing him prior to that, and he was running from the back of my yard into the yard when it happened.
Who saw that?
He does that weekly.
I don't care whether. Who saw that on February 19th?
Skylar did.
That's not what he told me.
Well, that is what happened.
Well, I don't know if that's what happened. It's not what he told me.
Could you please ask him again?
No, now I'm not going to ask him again because now he just heard you tell me.
So here's where we are right now in the case. What the mom is trying to say is basically that the dog was provoked, and provocation can be a claim that's asserted by defendants when their dog bites somebody, because you don't want people provoking dogs. That's how you get bit. But the mom's kid, the defendant's kid, is saying, well, that's not what happened. I lost control of the dog and it ran and bit this little boy. And so I have a feeling that the plaintiff is going to prevail at this point, assuming there are some damages, assuming there was actually a bite and the kid was hurt, maybe some medical care, that type of thing. So we have to wait and see how this plays out.
I was very clear. I said, what happened? And he didn't say to me. He was teasing the dog. He was screaming at the dog. He was shaking a stick at the dog. He said what happened was he was out walking 2 dogs. 1 leash got away from him. Well, clearly he was being chased by 2 dogs. Clearly in the video it shows him being chased by 2 dogs.
But the video does not show where he was behind my house, not on the side, teasing my dog. I was sitting in my living room chair,
Okay.
and I could hear Skylar even say, Malik, please don't tease the dog.
Do you remember teasing the dogs?
No, ma'am.
You don't remember getting bitten either?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
I think he's just being shy right now. He remembers. He was telling the story.
Okay. Well, I see that he was bitten, and I see that he was frightened. You have to be careful. Even with little dogs, you have to be careful. Okay, I'd like to see the medical bills.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now we're moving on to damages, right? In any personal injury matter, you have to have damages, whether it's, pain and suffering, medical bills from care and treatment, could be loss of income. We're not going to see that here with this kid, but obviously there's some medical bills here, and that's going to be important. Another question is going to be, is there any scar from the bite? Because if there is, and that's permanent, that's also going to be part of the damages. So let's see how bad this bite was and what came from it.
Who were the other children there? There were other children, more than just...
Yeah, it's our other side next door neighbors playing in our yard.
with you.
No,
With whom?
it's my littler siblings.
Well, I have one emergency room, and then I have
At that particular hospital, the ER bills separate from the actual doctor, but that was the same visit. They told me before we left that they would bill separately. I also let the defendants know that when I talked to Frank.
Okay, and you had no health insurance?
Correct.
Okay, so the total charges were $383 and $438?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you present these 2 bills, which total $821 to the Herreras?
Yes, I did, on 2 separate occasions because they came in the mail separately.
And what did they say?
The first one, when I went over to their house, they actually weren't home, so I taped it to the inside of their glass screen door, along with a note just saying, hey, this is the bill. I wanted to try to see if you wanted to resolve it between the 2 of us. If not, then, I'll have to take it further. Frank actually came to my house 2 days later, asking me, was Malik okay, and talking about the bill, and he said that they didn't have any problem paying it, but on the bill it does not state that this bill is for the dog bite. So he wanted basically proof that that's what this bill was for.
You know, so the defendant wants to, at this point, make sure that the bills that are being presented are related to the incident. I think that's a fair request. I don't think that's unusual. Maybe get a copy of the medical records that support the bill that would show the kind of care and treatment that the kid had at the emergency room. So at this point, it seems like they were headed on a path where maybe it should have been resolved without going to court, but something happened to get him in front of Judge Judy. Let's find out what it is.
I actually contacted the hospital the next day to see if they could give me something like that, and they said because of HIPAA laws, they couldn't put the reason for the visit on the actual bill. The next bill came in about 2 or 3 days later. That one I attached to their vehicle that was in their driveway, along with another note explaining what I just said about the HIPAA laws, and that if I didn't hear anything from them soon, that I would just take it to court, and I never heard anything from them again.
You know, that's an interesting question about HIPAA laws, which are privacy laws for medical stuff and billing, but there's an easy solution to that. All you have to do is get a copy of the records that support the bills, and all the information is going to be in there. So I'm not sure why she didn't do that. Certainly that's what we would have done here at Ramos Law if we were handling a case like this. We get a copy of the records and we get a copy of the bills. That's important.
Well, both bills show the date of the visit is February 19th.
I mean, I'm the type of person I ain't gonna pay a bill that don't show exactly what it's supposed to be.
Well, now you'll pay
And
the
who
bill.
it's- and
Now
who
you'll
it's
pay the
for.
bill because it's an emergency visit on February 19th. You saw the video. That's why she took the child to the emergency room. There was no other reason for her to take the child to the emergency room other than that. Now do you understand? So you should have paid the bill. Would have saved you an awful lot of trouble.
Yes, I understand that part, but not showing exactly who the person was. That's all I was asking for it to show what the person wanted, what it was for.
It says who the person is.
But can you look at these, please?
I'm looking here. This
But,
is from Malik Mack.
Yes, but the ones that we received.
Oh, okay. Maybe the ones that you received didn't have it. This one shows the person who was treated.
Yes, it shows it on those.
On the copy I
No,
left
it
for-
shows it on yours, sir. Malik Mack.
At this point, the dispute is kind of silly and stupid, isn't it? Because whether these bills are or are not related to the dog bite has such an easy solution to it. Just get the darn records. And so this back and forth nonsense just doesn't make sense to me as an attorney. But again, it's probably a really good example of why attorneys can be helpful, because these folks, they don't know what the heck they're doing. You get the bills, you get the records, and then this part goes away. So I think obviously the plaintiff is going to recover at this point. Let's see if there's any additional money on top of the medical bills for what this kid went through, the pain and suffering and those types of things. And again, we still don't know if there's a scar. So let's see what happens next.
And this one is patient's name, Malik Mack. What?
This is the first time we've ever seen any video.
Okay,
I have
good.
gone to the office at our park to see if we could get the video, and we've been informed that the park says that her surveillance cameras do not work.
I've never
a
received
second.
any requests for the video.
Just a second. She didn't just create that video. You wanted me to play it again so you can see it's your dogs?
I believe that those are my dogs, but I don't believe that he was bitten. He might have been scratched.
I have pictures
Judgment
of
for
the
the
dog
plaintiff
bite.
in the amount of $821. We're finished. Thank you.
So there you have it, Justice Judge Judy style. She awards medical bills, but nothing else. And, you know, certainly if you have an attorney on the case and you have a kid that's bit by a dog, so they end up in the emergency room, that's not a pleasant experience. So there should be additional damages there on top of the medical bills to compensate this kid for, you know, the pain and suffering and what he went through. Judge Judy decides not to do that. Medical bills are paid. Move on to the next case.